Well, good morning, everyone, and I'm doing today to celebrate International Coaching Week, which has been running all week from May 13th to May 17th. So the Ask Me Anything session was designed to basically allow people to come on the call and ask me questions in relation to things that they were finding difficult in their business or results that they were getting in their business that they didn't want. So it's interesting. I thought I would do a summary of the call because the same thing came up with the people who joined. So we had 7 people on the call, and it's funny, 3 of them highlighted not having enough time to grow their business effectively, and the other 4 all spoke about the balance between developing the business, so working on the business, and then involved in the doing, all the things you have to do in the business. So I guess in summary, what I said to all of the people, now this was done through an hour's discussion, obviously, but in a few minutes here, just to give you a synopsis, what you need to do is treat your business, do even an org chart for your business. So if you look at Michael Gerber's material in the E-Myth, he will talk about doing an organizational chart for your business. So look at the CEO, look at the C-suite, the senior level management, and then look at the operational positions. And if you're putting me into each of those boxes, then the business is never going to grow beyond a certain point, because you're not going to have the time, you're not going to have the energy, you can't physically do all the things within the time frame that you have. So there's 2 things that you can look at. You can look at where do you need to streamline the business. So I always use a really great tool that I learned from Brian Tracy, and it's the kind of A, B, C, D. So the A tasks, the really, really important tasks, these are absolutely critical to the business and they have to be done by me. The B tasks could be things that are critical or very important to the business, but they could be outsourced and overseen by me. The C tasks then, and this is me putting my own summary on it, the C tasks are things that can be outsourced and don't need to be done by me. All I need to do is give the direction and ensure I have an operational procedure that allows a good contractor to take that and go running with it. So the most common one that we would think of is things like bookkeeping, VAT returns. It could be admin, diary management. It could be responding to sales queries. So they're all things that you could outsource. So if it's responding to sales queries, it's a matter of you putting sales copy together. So that's one of the examples I used with one of the gentlemen on the call. So you can have standard copy, and a virtual assistant or a personal assistant or a contractor can be your admin that sends that copy out, that gets the person on a call or into a meeting with you. Then you can run with it. You know, I see so many business owners in the SME market that are bogged down in trying to manage bookkeeping, accounts, VAT returns, when if they outsource that, a lower value task, and they actually spend time on business development, generating prospects, leads, and sales, their business will grow so much faster. So the C tasks are, think of C for contractor. Contract them out. You don't necessarily have to hire somebody directly to do those. That was the biggest change I made in my first business, my healthcare business, when I started contracting things out, that it took time for me that I wasn't delivering. I wasn't constantly delivering in the business. I was able to actually work on it. And then the D is dump it if you can't delegate it. Get rid of it if you can't delegate it. And look at, does it really need to be done? So D, does it need to be done? D, dump it, or D, delegate it. So that is, if you were to say to me, what is the thing? And even in my own experience, I will always stand over things that I've done that worked, and I will always stand over things that I have done in 20 years in business that didn't work. And there've been a good few of them. But I guess for me, it's important that you change the mindset. So it's fine for me to go into a business and consult with a business and say, okay, do it this way, and this way. Get rid of this. You stop doing that. Give that to somebody. But the chances are it's going to be difficult for the business owner to get out of that mindset. So they're still in the technical aspect of the business. They're in the technician mindset, the delivery, the doing. So that's the biggest thing that I would say in terms of freeing up your time. That's what I would say. Look at that A, B, C, D model and just start looking at the A tasks. Now, for product-based businesses or for, say, coaches or consultants, so I work with quite a few coaches and consultants. So I'm not an expert in the whole thing like Facebook ads, direct campaign marketing, email marketing. And that is a science in itself. That is a business within itself. So I have very good people that I will refer my clients to, and I have a very good broad working knowledge of the industries that will help in. But it's not something, so for a person that came on the call today, I've given you someone to contact because it's not my area of expertise and I don't want to mislead you. But the one thing that I would say is, in terms of knowing the cost of every single thing in your business, that's also something you need to know the cost of. So the cost per click, the cost per click onto maybe your website, downloading a brochure, buying a product. So you need to know in that consumer journey what your costs of sales are in the various areas where you're using that kind of an email marketing campaign. And it's the same as any other cost. If you've spent, 4 hours dealing with a prospect to get them over the line, that's your cost of sale. If you bill yourself to your business at €100 an hour, just for easy counting, your cost of sale for that person is €400. And that's the way you need to look at it. Your cost of sale is really important. So sometimes, I find it that service-based businesses find it very hard to put a cost on their sale because they haven't costed their time. So effectively, they're working for free if you were to put in a time cost. So you need to look at what is the average that you would be billable at in your business, and you bill those hours back to the business when you're putting your costings together. And then, because that's going to eat into your profit margins. And that's the bottom line, guys. You have to be making money. It's fine to be in business and having a turnover and having a business and having all the things, but it's about your net profit. That is the money that goes into your bank. It's in your bank account. It's going to go into your hip pocket. It's going to go into your pension. So the turnover is nothing if you don't know what your gross and net profits are. It doesn't matter what your turnover is, because that's not the money that you have in the bank. So that was another thing that we addressed on the Ask Me Anything call. Another thing was, then how do you get more qualified leads or prospects in terms of, I was asked, how do I generate new business? So there's a number of factors here. So taking online marketing out of it, email campaigns, Facebook ads, anything like that, Google ads, taking those things out of it. Some of the easiest ways that you can pick up new business are so obvious and so simple that we actually miss them. So your easiest source of revenue are your current clients, because your current clients are people who know you, they like you, they trust you, they have a frame of reference for your product or service and how you deliver it, for your authenticity, for your ethics. So if you've built up that visibility and credibility, and you will have built up profitability with your clients, they are your easiest source of revenue. So you can look at it in two ways. You can look at, are there other services that you don't currently provide that you could provide to these clients? Or are there other products that you don't currently provide that you could provide that would complement other things you do, or that may solve a different problem within the business for them? So give them a different transformation. And also then, in terms of asking them, who do they know that they could introduce you to? So asking for referrals, asking for a testimonial, that you then have a testimonial within a specific industry that you can go to other people in that industry and say, I've worked, with Anne-Marie Graham. She's been a business coach to me for X number of years. So if I wanted then, and I'm coaching somebody, we'll say in the print and packaging industry, I then have a frame of reference for somebody in that industry that I can go, and that can be gold in terms of trying to get new business. So your current clients, in terms of other services or other products that you're not currently giving them, so sit down and do a review with them, approach them and say, I was thinking about it and I think this is something that could help. Or ask them for a testimonial. So you have something in that space, you have collateral in that space that you can go and use to generate new business. Or better still, ask them for a referral. So ask them, who else do they know that you could help? And the chances are, unless they're an entirely new customer and they're not working with you that long, or they're an entirely new client and they're not working with you that long, they'll think of somebody. Who else do you know that I could provide the same type of service to as I provide to you? And give them time to think. Sometimes we get uncomfortable with silence. So that's a mindset piece. So we keep talking over it. So ask them the question and then zip it. Just zip it and give them time to think and come up with a name. And then simply ask them, would you be willing to give me an introduction to that person? That's a yes or no. Would you be willing to give me an introduction? Not, I must email you about that, or I'll get that introduction off you at some stage. Will you give me an introduction to that person? That's a yes or no. And again, if you've built up the trust and the credibility with that person, the chances are, of course, they're going to want to refer you to maybe other clients or contacts or friends or associates or whatever. They're going to want to give your name to them because you could bring some sort of a transformation to their business as well. So that's just some ways in terms of business development. So looking at, qualified leads and prospects, that's how it came up in the conversation on the call. So qualified people are similar people who you could do the same thing for, people who are already your clients, and just simply ask them for more business or ask them for the referral, and that will in turn lead to more business. I also talked on the call about not accepting rejection. So sometimes if we reach out to somebody, they may be busy. You may not be top of mind. So it's when they don't come back to you. It's not that they've said, I don't want to do business with Anne-Marie. I've often had 5, 6, 7 interactions with somebody before they've signed up to work with me. So they could have come into my community through a webinar. They could have seen a post or a video like this. They could have then booked a call. They could then need some other interaction. I could have followed up with them 3, 4, 5 times because they simply weren't ready. But if I got all beaten out of shape, and if after the second interaction I said, well, they don't want to work with me, they mustn't think I'm good enough, then I've potentially done myself out of business. Because if I hadn't had the 6th interaction where I converted, if I'd have given up on action 2, then I would never got the business. So that's the way to frame, what we perceive as rejection. And I love Jack Canfield's term, reject rejection. And even if it's a no, I will always frame a no as no, not yet, unless someone says, which has never happened, Anne-Marie, I absolutely wouldn't do business with you, not now, not ever, you are not for me, then I will take that as a no. But anything softer than that, I will take as a no, not yet. And I've gone on to convert, as I say, people 3, 4, 5 months after the first interaction. So that's something as well to look at it in terms of qualified leads. And the other one that came up for us in the call was where we talked about having more balance. So the old work-life balance term, which sometimes I hate. So the balance is you balance your work, your time between your work and your business when you balance you. So very often that comes down to the mindset. So the thinking creates the behavior. So I will always say with the people I work with, I coach the person, I consult the business. So I can give you the tools and the strategies to do some of the things that we're talking about, but I need to coach you to get you into the thought process of someone who will show up to do those things. So to change any behavior, and most of our behavior is habitual, we have to go to the source of where the habit developed in the first place, and that was in the way we were thinking and the mindset that we have, which is pre-programmed. So we can do an awful lot of stuff on autopilot. And, in my first few years in business, I very much would have gone by the principle act as if. I never liked the term fake it till you make it because I don't like the connotation of the word fake. But the act as if I was acting like the successful business owner long before I was, or long before my bank account told me this business is successful, long before I had passed my, in business, passed my nurse salary. That was 3 years in before I was even coming close to passing that salary out. But in my mind, I showed up and I did the things that successful Anne-Marie would do. But I had to make a lot of changes in mindset to do that. And had I made more changes sooner, the act wouldn't have been an act. it would have been so much easier. And it's why I am so passionate now about coaching people not to act as if. It's to become the person that you need to be to show up at that level is there. You just need to become aware of them, to become aware that they're there. And you need to shift the mindset to become the person who does the things that the successful you, at whatever level that looks like in your business, what would the successful version of you do? What would your highest level self do in terms of success? How would they show up? What would they do differently? And it will start with they will think differently. So, I will always say a huge part of the work I do is around coaching the mentality of the business owner, the mindset of the business owner, to make the changes that they need to make so that they will do things differently habitually. They'll develop new habits. And it's when we do that that we will find more balance, because we become the person, as I said, that's there, but we're maybe not acting like that person, or we're not believing in that person, or we're not seeing that person as there enough. And then obviously things like not trying to do everything in your business. That is going to take your time. If you're trying to do the sales and the marketing and different areas of production, and you are the business in terms of, if you think of that org chart, if you're every name in every box, then of course you're going to burn out. And of course, you're not going to have the time to develop the business to the next level. You'll get it to a certain level. Absolutely, you will. That is where I was when I started working with my first coach. I was working harder in my second year in business, doing the same thing that I did in the beginning. And I moved the dial very slightly. Into my third year in business, I was working even harder and I wasn't moving the dial further at all. So I knew something had to change. And a big part of that was having the faith to invest in people, to do the things that I was taking my time and spending my time and wasting my time doing, the lower level tasks that were not generating revenue. So that will also free up your time. And it's about you making a very conscious effort not to fill that time with other menial activity. So you grow the business, then you get to a level where you're ready to hire people and you may have a team. And some business owners never want to hire, some want to stay with the contractor model, and that is absolutely fine. I did that for my first 6 years in my first business. I had all contractors. Now, I had very good contractors. I paid well, so I attracted contractors who were really good. So that's another thing if you're using a contractor model. If you pay peanuts, you are not going to get the best people. So it's about having the faith to invest in contractors, and it's about also having the boundaries and the discipline to have the conversation to say, this is the way I do it under my brand. This is what I would expect. So not from a dictatorial position, but from a position where they are representing your brand when they're working under your brand with your clients or customers. So just that's something to be wary of with the contractor model as well. So I think that is everything that's come up. That they were the general things that came up. So for those who, I got a number of messages through LinkedIn and Messenger to say I planned to be on the call and I'd registered for the call, but something came up and I wasn't able to make it. So I said out of the 7 people that were there, I would just do a little synopsis. So I hope you found that useful. That's a kind of a 20-minute masterclass on how to effectively grow your business without burning yourself out. So have a great week to celebrate International Coaching Week, and I hope to see you again soon. I will also post the link to my Lightbulb, which is the weekly coaching tip that I do every Monday. So people in my community will get something to focus on every week. It's completely free of charge. It's not a subscription. You can opt out at any time. I have a very good open rate and I have a very, very low opt-out rate. So it's definitely delivering value to my community, and you would be so welcome to join me. I will see you soon.